being pushy because he wanted to be with her, and he wanted her, this entity, to be his, and because he'd fallen in love with it, and me being a very sort of romantic sort of person, I quite like that, and I liked that in the film. And I don't know, I'm a very old romantic person, and I like, I like that sort of thing. I think it's really cool.
Right, Melanie's brother Jamie. What do you think of? I hadn't seen him in anything.
I haven't seen him much in anything, unless he has been in something that I've seen and I don't recall him.
His performance, do you think?
But
I think it's really good. I think his performance.
It is good. Because
he's kind to Wanda before anybody else is. He's one that understands Wanda.
He does, yeah, and that's. He played the because obviously he plays a very young child, so I think he pulled off the naivety of not knowing what's going to happen or whether this entity was evil or not. I didn't, because as children are, they are quite naive, and I like how he played that as a small child, and that was
right. Jeb, William Hurt. Have you seen him in anything? I don't think I have.
I don't think I have. The name doesn't ring a bell. Was he? He was the
Melanie's uncle.
Yeah, I don't really recall him being anything that I've seen, but obviously because I don't really sit and I watch films, but sometimes I don't really take into consideration because I get lost in the story. I don't really consider who's who in the.
I think like the way he portrayed Jeb is definitely the way I picture Jeb in the book. Definitely. He definitely gets the character spot on.
Yeah.
These performances were pretty good, definitely.
Yeah, because the actor surely sort of, he did care for, because obviously Melanie is his niece, so it's family, and regardless that his niece being taken over by an alien entity, he still took care of her, and he didn't just.
He didn't let the others sort of.
He didn't let the others sort of like, because, it must take a lot of gall to stand in front of. To stand, whether it's family or a friend, to stand in front of someone. In front of someone and protect somebody when a lot of other people are against them, and it's. And I think it is, and because it's family, it really shows like the strength of family. Really, doesn't it? It's just, I liked that. I'm very family orientated as well. So you're learning about me when we were talking about this. So
right, Kyle. Boyd Holbrook. Never even heard of him, to be honest.
Which one was Kyle? Which one was Kyle? Was he
the one that he tried to kill Wanda? Like, I don't know. He tried to sort of throw her over the edge of the water thing.
Was he?
Yeah, they were like a scene.
See, Samantha's got the DVD, and obviously because you've got the DVD and you've rewatched it and you've really rethought of everything. I haven't, because I can't, because I'm a bit part of the minute. I can't find it.
Kyle's basically a bit of a prick, I think. Like, especially when they first bring Wanda into their community. And like, whereas like Jared and Ian and everyone come to accept her, Kyle doesn't until very later on.
Was he the one in the car in the van with Jared when they were trying to save? Because there were two others, weren't there, part of the resistance that were about to get captured, but they chose to drive into a wall.
Yeah, I think Kyle will in the same van with Jared. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I fairly remember that character. I don't know what his name was, but I do fairly remember that character. And I remember from what you've told me, I do sort of recall that character. And
I think he definitely pulled off.
It did. It did really pull off the sort of I don't trust you sort of persona, and obviously they had their reasons, because there were a small group of human beings kept you know, there's still a small group of human beings that do not want to be taken over, and they're strong, they're a strong unit together. I mean, you know, there's a lot of, probably as individuals they're probably really strong as well, but as a group, as a unit, as a group, they're really sort of really cool. And I like you know, strong groups of people that stick up for not to like fall into convention.
Right, Maggie, which were Melanie's
auntie, wasn't it?
Yeah. She wasn't in it much, but
she wasn't in it much. But I remember being sort of.
I think the scene where they find Wanda in the desert.
They do find one. Yeah, I think that was.
And basically, I'm pretty sure Maggie slaps her.
I think she did, and that really sort of. I don't know if it angered me or it didn't.
Like, it was sort of weird that she's family and she wasn't the same way as Jeb, I think, in a way.
Yeah, I think that's because...
I know that obviously I know Melanie was, like, taken over, but, you know, as Jeb did, Jeb sort of trusted her, whereas Maggie didn't. Yeah, because
I found that really weird, because, you know, if my neighbours like me, then, you know, there'd be a family feud, but I don't know, it was strange. It was because Jeb was so accepting of it, and you know, when she said you found us, and he goes we, and he obviously was taken back and he was a bit shocked, and he stepped back, but you know, whether or not she's, I don't know, probably the character Maggie had married Jeb before.
I don't know if she came to accept Wanda. I don't think she did. Not in the book anyway. I'm very late on in the book, like currently, and she doesn't accept Wanda at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about that, but I do fairly remember the slap and being quite confused of how Jeb could easily accept it, but her auntie couldn't. And whether or not, you know, I don't know whether or not, you know, if they were married before, or, you know, haven't delved that much into, you know, the relationship between the auntie and Melanie herself, but it's, I don't know,
it was a confusing relationship, I think.
It was. I found it really confusing how, because if there's, you know, it may be just been a defence mechanism, or I'm scared and I'm quite threatened that you've got the gall to come, you know, to try and make your way back, and you know, because obviously if you know, this alien race has come from beyond the stars and then come to Earth and try to change everything and try to make things a better place, and really try to take over humanity, and humanity isn't perfect, I think, you know, and that's, as human beings we're all not perfect, and
just the like the way she acts around.
Yeah, it was the way I think it really confused. I think it probably confused both of us, didn't it? That it wasn't really sort of. It wasn't family, and that's why I found it so confusing that, you know, your auntie doesn't do that. I don't know if any of you guys at home are like me and Sam. You know, I'm quite family oriented, and you're really, and you are as well. So it's like that, but.
Right, Aaron and Brandon. I don't remember these two at all in the movie. I don't know if they're the two guys that were in the van and they crashed into the wall. I'm not sure if it was them. I think it was, but...
I mean, I only, you know... In any film, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't really take much into consideration of what's going on around the main characters, but I only sort of... I mean, I don't know if it's like this for Sam, but I don't really pay that much attention. I sort of really take into account the plot of the thing and try to understand, because it's something that I'm not normally into. It's sci-fi, and I'm not a big sci-fi person. I've always been sort of, you know, I'm sort of like your Lord of the Rings sort of
fantasy
things, and because obviously my upbringing, my brother was very into it, so, and when we sat down about it, you will learn the names and you will watch this, and it wasn't a forceful thing, it was sort of like, at the beginning it was like, do I really need to care about it? But as I grew up, I learned to love it, and I do love it, and and I'd like to see The Hobbit at some point, 'cause I haven't seen that, really want to see that, which is the whole, it's like
it's like the prequel in it.
It is, it's the prequel. It's the sort of the Bilbo Baggins beforehand, and then before all that other stuff happened, before Frodo, before Sam, before Aragorn. I'm trying to be clever and name all of them, and I can't remember half of them. But yeah, I'm quite. Yeah.
Right, Wes and Lily. Again, I think they were sort of background characters. I don't really think
They were
in the book. They've got a much bigger role in the book,
Mm.
but in the film, they weren't really in it. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, I think it's.
Because obviously this is going to be spoilers for people who haven't read the book, but Wes does. Wes does.
Spoilers.
Wes does actually get killed in the book, whereas in the movie they didn't show that. So.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I probably should have read the book before I went to go see the film, but me being quite lazy and not being able to go and buy a book or download it, I didn't read it, and I thought, well, it'd be fine because it might explain what's going on during the film, but which it didn't, which is okay, because I learned what was going on as the film
went on.
Yeah, as it progressed, I learned what was going on, and I knew what was going on, and even though I couldn't really understand every tiny aspect, I sort of did understand, right, if an alien, all these alien entities are coming to Earth to try and make the world a better place, and there's a small resistance that don't want to be turned, and it's just. So so basically I understood what was going on, and that was enough for me to.
Right, Doc.
I remember Doc, and I remember him sort of.
Like I love this character.
Yeah, and I don't mean Doc as in sort of. Oh, I want 1 gigawatt. I don't mean that one. I mean the sort of.
Back to the Future reference.
Yeah, Back to the Future reference. See, I watched that film. If we did a review on that, I would have nailed it. Yeah, I liked. I don't know. Doc was.
He wasn't in it as much as the book.
He wasn't in it. Oh well, he wasn't in it as much as he is in the book. If I remember correctly, wasn't he in like near the end?
Yeah, it was where when Wanda's put into like the new body, it was sort of within that group. It's the one that Wanda goes to see. It says, like you've got to promise me and stuff. Yeah.
And that, yeah, because I think as a doctor who was, extracting, aliens in the human way, he didn't really cover it up that well when she came in, because no one's that quiet. I mean, I am, but I know that I'm really quiet so that I can sneak up on people and be like, "You're right," and scare them a bit, which I probably really should get out of the habit of doing. But yeah, it was.
Like for a doctor, he didn't really come across as.
He didn't come across as much as a really strong character. I mean,
I'm not sure if that was just the actor's fault or like the writer of the script, or I don't know. But he comes across like much better in the book than the movie.
I mean, yeah, because I haven't read the book, obviously, so I can't really compare. So sorry, guys, but
the last person, Emily Browning as Pet, in the end, where Wanda's
I remember this bit.
It was actually a really nice surprise to see Emily Browning in this, because towards the weeks coming up to the release, I sort of went a bit spoiler free. So obviously to see her at the end, it was sort of a nice surprise. Like I've seen her in a few films. I've seen her in Sucker Punch, and I've seen her in a series of Unfortunate Events. It was a really nice surprise to see her.
I see, and you recognised her. She was in that, wasn't she, with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
And you recognised her when I started watching it, when she came in at the end. Yeah, I like the character, because I have seen that one, so I can comment. And I think she was because she was a lot older,
Yeah.
so I couldn't recognise her, but I do know she is now.
Obviously, being a bit picky, I know that Pet in the book has got blonde hair, and I know Emily Browning's naturally blonde. So I'm not sure why they changed the hair colour for the role, but again, just being nitpicky.
Yeah, you could just be nitpicking. You're just nitpicking. I haven't read the book, so I don't really know. But I like the character how she came across, and she came. She came across well. I think. I don't think she did a bad job.
Like, she was only in the last 10 minutes, but...
Yeah, I mean, she was in the last 10 minutes, but, you know, she had her own face, and she had her own body, and as Wanda, and she sort of... and she got on with...
I think really it made sense, because I know that, obviously, when the Twilight series was being made, Stephanie Meyer wanted Emily Browning to be Bella, originally. So I guess it made sense for Emily to be in the host.
Yeah.
It made sense.
It did make... I think it made sense, and I really... I don't know. I liked the character. I liked how Wanda had her own. I didn't really.
Like, she had her own body now.
She had her own body, and the really cute fact is that Ian didn't treat her any different. I thought
Ian
she's gonna
exactly the same.
because I thought she's gonna get a new body. He's gonna look at her and he's gonna not like. He's gonna nitpick and he's not gonna find anything that he's gonna find something he doesn't like, and he'll just. I don't know. Maybe it's me being pessimistic of. I'm a huge believer in love, but sometimes I get really pessimistic with it. That might be just sort of my... But it didn't change how he felt, and that was quite cute. And
I like that sort of thing of it.
Yeah.
Right, so obviously this is a book, obviously a book turned into a film. Obviously I've sort of read the majority of the book. I'm on the last few chapters now. It is definitely a faithful adaptation. It's very watered down in my opinion. Like, many scenes that were in the book I don't remember in the movie. Like Wes's death, Walter's death. Neither of them two was in the movie. There was a scene in the book which were quite developed, and in...
Abby, you carry on, I was going to sort that out.
Like, obviously, there was a scene when they go on the raid, and in the book it's quite developed, whereas in the movie it's like a 5-second scene, and I do believe they could have developed on them a lot more. Other than that, it was quite faithful. The reason why Jamie got the cut on his leg, I know, was different from the book to the movie. In the book he gets the cut because he went on a night raid with Jared and Ian, whereas in the film he sort of accidentally cuts himself with the razor thing. Right, I've sort of done on that bit now, so...
Okay.
Right, compared to the books, so obviously, you know, the book is written by Stephanie Meyer because of that issue...
And she wrote Twilight.
Yeah, because of that issue, the host straight away got a stick for it. Just because of that issue. Because people thought it would be very similar to Twilight.
Yeah, I mean, it really shouldn't matter whether... Sorry, my breath had to run up stuff downstairs, but... it shouldn't really matter who's written a certain book. To me, I don't think it matters as long as it's got a plot.
It's got likeable characters.
It's got likeable characters. It's, you know, and it's come across very well. I mean, it's not about.
It's nothing really like Twilight. Yeah, there is a sort of love story.
Yeah, there's a love
it's
sort
nothing,
of.
It's not about vampires. It's not about werewolves.
It's set off apart from it's a whole different thing to itself, and I don't think, and to be honest, I don't think it really should get any stick. Because
I don't think people really appreciate how different it is.
Because
people just assume it's like Twilight because of Stephanie Meyer, because it's obviously she wrote the book as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you really shouldn't, like, I'm not saying what to do, but as people who enjoy. Whether you love Twilight or you hate it, it doesn't matter. You know, the person who wrote those books really shouldn't get any stick for writing anything that's similar. Because I haven't read the book, and I know I haven't got any room to speak. But